A quick new idea, daily, from the world's greatest TEDx talks. I'm your host, Atossa Leoni, and this is TEDx Shorts. How do you distinguish between romantic love and lust? According to sociologist Terri Orbuch, the project director of a 27-year study on marriage, divorce, and repartnering, there are 4 specific cues that indicate more than just desire. Today, she shares how to reignite that lustful desire in long-term relationships.
Besides the hormonal differences between lust and love, there are also 4 cues that you can use to distinguish lust from love. The first sign is what I call connection. When you're in love, you want your partner to connect with all the important people in your life. You want them to spend time with, hang out with your friends and family. You want to show off them to your friends and family, and you want your friends and family to be impressed by this other person. Also, you don't keep them to yourself, but you bring them out and introduce them to your interests again and the people who are important to you. The second sign is when you use we language rather than I language. It turns out that when 2 people are in love, their lives are intertwined. And they begin to think of themselves not as separate individuals anymore, but instead as a couple. And the more intertwined those 2 people's lives are, the more overlap in their lives, their friends, their interests, and in their circles. The more overlap between their lives, the more mutuality. And mutuality is when we refer to ourselves as a couple, as an us or we, rather than as an I or this other person. So for example, if I asked you what you were doing last weekend, if you were in love, you would tell me we went out to dinner, we went to the movies, or we went up north for the weekend, rather than I took Sandy to the movies and then I went out to dinner, or I went up north. So if you want to distinguish between lust or love, look at your language and the degree to which you use we versus I statements. The third sign is self-disclosure. What you tell this other person about you. Love motivates us to reveal extensive information about ourselves to this other person. When we're in love, we want to tell this person about our dreams, our aspirations, our goals, the past, the future. Sometimes we tell them confidential information, and sometimes we tell them all of our secrets that we've never told anyone before. So if you want to distinguish between lust and love, look at what you're talking about and how many topics with this other person. Now, the last and 4th sign is that you influence one another. When 2 people are in love, what one person does or wants to do influences the other person in meaningful and strong ways. For example, if you were thinking about moving to a different state because of a new job, or you were considering any big change in your life, you would want to go to your partner before you make a decision. Likewise, if you had something happen to you, a medical scare, you actually lost your job, or the death of a family member, you would want to go to this person to get social support, assistance. You would want help from this person. So lust and love are completely different from one another. And couples have a very difficult time maintaining that urgent longing we call lust over the long term. Can you recreate that lust? Absolutely. My research shows that if you add 3 behaviors to your loving long-term relationship, you can reignite or rekindle that lustful desire. And those 3 behaviors turn out to be the same behaviors that ignited the lust when you first met that person. So if you mirror the beginnings of your relationship, you can add lust, rekindle that passion in your relationship. The first strategy to rekindle or recreate the lust is to do new and novel activities with your partner, because newness creates excitement. Think about it. At the beginning of your relationship, everything was a new experience for the two of you. Everything was new and novel. Every date you went on, every restaurant you ate at was a new experience for the two of you. And that created the excitement and created all of that arousal. So if you want to recreate that lust, you need to find new and exciting things to do with your partner. Now, that can be as simple as going to a new restaurant in a different part of the city that you've never been to. You can try skating, skiing, or snowboarding for the first time with your partner. The second strategy that you want to do is to use the element of surprise and add a little bit of mystery to your relationship, because mystery and surprise enhances lust. The idea is you want that oh wow factor, right? You want that to be recreated in your loving long-term relationship. Again, think back. At the beginning, everything was different and interesting that you were learning about your partner. Yes, she told you that she had a pet snake when she was growing up, and you went, "What? Wow, now that's interesting." But then as time goes on in a relationship, you begin to really know your partner almost too well. You know what they like to do on Sundays. You know that she snores when she sleeps, and he chews with his mouth open, and he doesn't like the color pink. You really get to know your partner. And while that's wonderful, because that intimate knowledge builds love, it extinguishes lust. So you again need to add the element of surprise and mystery. You can go to your partner's place of work and whisk them away for lunch or after work for dinner. Or you can send them a flirty text message in the middle of the afternoon. The third and final way to rekindle that lust is to do what I call arousal-producing activities. Now, this is my favorite suggestion, but it's not what you think. It's actually clean. What relationship scientists have learned is that if you do an arousal-producing activity with your partner, that arousal or that adrenaline rush that's produced through this other activity, the arousal can actually get transferred to your partner and your relationship. It's almost like you're tricking your brain to attributing or associating that arousal due to another activity to your partner or to your relationship. So what am I really talking about then when I say arousal-producing activities? There are lots of things you can do. You can exercise with one another side by side. You can watch a comedy show, a scary movie. You can even ride a roller coaster ride at an amusement park. So in the end, lust and love are very different. But moments of passion are the highlights of our lives and of our relationships. And in fact, ask anyone about the experience, and they definitely remember, and they have a little smile on their face. And don't get me wrong, I think lust is fun and wonderful. But lust is not the glue that keeps long-term relationships together and happy. The glue that keeps people bonded over time is actually love.
The TEDx talk you just listened to was recorded at a TEDx event in Rochester, Michigan. All TEDx events are independently organized by volunteers who believe in TED's mission of ideas worth spreading. Special thanks to the organizing team at TEDxOaklandUniversity. Want to listen to more TEDx talks? Visit our website at ted.com/TEDxShorts. I'm Atossa Leoni. Thanks for listening, and see you tomorrow.